We're back.
Hey, we're back. Dylan is back from last week, but this week we are back.
Special guest star Zach Wiseman.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for letting me be here. You might know me from Still Cutting.
Okay, we don't need to know where you're from.
Oh, okay. It's one of those kind of shows. Raw and uncensored. That's cool. Yeah. So I took a week off of talking, so I just didn't want to. I didn't want to talk, so I went to South Carolina with my family, and we spent some time in the swamps and the heat and whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter. Who cares? I'm back. You are watching Twitching UpStream, which is a very cool show that Dylan and I created as an offshoot to Talking UpStream, which was a cool show that Dylan and I created because we were on an interview show and we were asked to do a show and we didn't know what to do, so we made up Talking UpStream, which is where we interview.
We tricked them into letting us work on screen.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because they're like, "Do you have a show?" Like, do we ever? We'll email you.
Tell them what the show is.
We'll email you the details real fast. But yeah, so Talking UpStream, what we do is we find creative people, people that do some weird origins. Dude, I love it. Straight up Wiseman. Yeah, so we find some people that just create some weird stuff. We talk to them and then we create with them. What we decided to do was, instead of just keep making more stuff that we don't really work on, we would make this show, which is learning how to take an idea, even if you have now you have an idea from start to finish. Now you got to work on characters. Now you got to work on arcing the stories. Now you got to work on bookending things and making things happen and realistic. Honestly, I haven't talked in about a week, so I'm gonna gab for a while. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you guys watching. Anybody out there, if you're watching, go ahead and comment along. Let us know what you think. Let us know if something Dylan is writing is misspelled. Let us know if you think a certain plot line should go a certain way. Don't mind the mess back here behind me. I haven't done anything in a very long time. So anyway, we were working on, I guess we started doing Red Wichita, right?
Yes.
Is that what you were doing last week?
Yeah,
and
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and if you don't remember, Dylan kind of had a cool little writing seminar last week where he showed people a different program that I'm not allowed to use and how you can use it. I don't know what that program is. I don't have the program.
Just writer duet. Yeah.
You do that, but wait, you did a writer duet on the only episode you were by yourself?
Yeah. I know, I'm a chump.
Wow. Boy, strong moves, my friend.
I had your little doll right here with your spare hat on it, so it felt like you were here.
Wait, the beard hair doll or
yeah.
The one that or the plush I made you?
You made me one?
I guess you didn't get that package in the mail.
No.
But before we get going on what that story was and what we're going, I do have a little bit of nerd news that I really want to talk about. I don't know if you guys have seen the news, but in DC, we have the Batman, right? The cool Matt Reeves program that's going to be coming up pretty soon. I don't know. I think next year, or maybe way later this year.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, they've been talking about it for a couple years. They recently announced that it's going to be also like a Riddler origin story where the Riddler kind of has a mirroring story to Batman where his parents were also murdered. He grew up in an orphanage and then apparently blah, blah, blah. But in way
Batman's Spectre?
Kind of, yeah. But in way more interesting news, apparently the crew of the Batman caught Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz fornicating on the prop of the Batmobile, and the crew didn't know what to do, so they got the director Matt Reeves involved, and he allegedly scalded Robert Pattinson and called him a very privileged young man. And oh, dude, that would be awesome. Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin would be a good Riddler.
Yeah, but I think he just needs too many props. Like, yeah, the Riddler leaves props, but Dimitri Martin has to like talk out his.
He'd take them all with him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta find the Riddler so I can get what the riddle is. Then he like puts up like a white chalkboard. Yeah. But yeah, so what Matt Reeves said is he would not work with Robert Pattinson ever again. If there are sequels to this movie, he will not direct them. So much so that he won't even come back to do reshoots if needed. And I think Zoe Kravitz was in a relationship at the time, and that relationship has failed. Now Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz are in a relationship together, and they're very happy. And it turns out that Miss Kravitz may be pregnant.
Is she playing Catwoman?
She is playing Catwoman. Oof. So I don't know if is that. So is
Matt Reeves secretly the Joker in his own movie? Like,
so cool. So my quick question: is this method acting?
Doesn't Pattinson do? Am I thinking of Shia LaBeouf? Does Pattinson method act?
Not really. No, he actually takes acting very not seriously.
Yeah. Matt Reeves is taking this very seriously.
Very seriously.
I guess professionally, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it was also it was found by the cast allegedly. So so I guess he had to kind of make like a statement, but yeah, he's taking this very seriously. But if they have to come back to do reshoots though, I'm curious what they're going to do, if they're going to like digital face or
get your second unit director to take care of it, or like your assistant director or something like.
Oh yeah, I guess just a sub director. That makes sense. Because I guess that
put Joss Whedon in there to redo it.
Yeah. I guess because right now, would you say Pattinson is more of a commodity than Matt Reeves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What else has Matt Reeves done?
He did like the Planet of the Apes movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's a very talented storyteller.
He's a very
I like the guy a lot. I don't know exactly what else is going on with that, but I don't know if you've heard much about what that story is going to focus around. And it's kind of a year 2 process. So he's not like the Batman yet. He doesn't have like a bat cave. He does have a Batmobile, which is just like a tricked out car. He has a bat cycle, which is a tricked out. So apparently he's using batarangs. He's using obviously his grappling hook. He also has smoke that he has in a tube in his sleeve that comes out of his gauntlet. And latest things are that at one point, one of the fights, he beats up 3 people with an unloaded gun so badly that there's blood on his face and his hands. So I think what they're doing is really diving into mental illness with this movie. So which has to be weird, because then you think about selling merch, right? So if Batman is mentally ill and they really want to go down that route, how do you sell merch for that? Like, how do you? It's just
Burger King kid meals and the toys.
Oh, true.
It's a blood spattered plastic revolver. I don't know.
Yeah, like what they did for Batman Returns back in '90s. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah. So Marvel news, Loki, the new show is coming out tomorrow, and tomorrow, Wednesday, right? I'm pretty.
Ooh, I like Mouse Guard. I have the Mouse Guard book here somewhere.
That would be very cool, I think.
Yeah.
Now, how I don't know Mouse Guard very well. Is that like Redwall, or is that more like
It's Redwall that treats it's anthropomorphic animals, but they're more appropriate to the size. Like a skunk is like a skunk compared to the Mouse Guard is a huge thing that they have to like drive off or something like that.
Well, Redwall is not size accurate.
No, Redwall started originally. There was some of that, but not very long. Wow, it didn't take very long for it to just become just medieval people as animals.
Oh, okay.
Mouse Guard's a bit more like I don't want to say realistic, but
like Fievel Goes West.
Yeah, consider Root. Root is like the halfway point between Mouse Guard and Redwall.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, right on.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Matt Reeves Redwall Mouse Guard project.
Sure.
See, we go in for the Batman mental illness angle because now you get 2 Joker. Yeah, for real. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen Cruella, the new Disney premium access movie that came out starring Emma Stone. For those who have not seen it, if you have seen Todd Phillips' Joker, You've seen Cruella.
I've heard it compared to Joker. Spoilers, I hear that the Dalmatians are responsible for her character development.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dalmatians are the murderers in this movie. And she is also crazy. I have no interest in rewatching it. Don't watch that movie, please. It's not that good. It's definitely not worth $30 extra on top of Disney Plus. Please do not pay that.
Yeah.
Do not pay that. Set a precedence. Back to Loki. So Loki's coming out tomorrow, and they're obviously going now. If you think about Marvel villains, like Loki, I think has the best character arc that a villain can possibly have.
Yeah.
He was a villain for multiple movies. He died a couple times. He's as cyclical as Loki can be. He just keeps coming back. But the thing is that the show, if you don't know, it is post Avengers 1 Loki.
Yes.
Now, even though they have come out and said Loki was under the spell of the Mind Stone at the time, like Loki wasn't theoretically doing all of those bad things because he was also under the spell. That was a recent turn of events.
I know. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is a tough one. But if it is post Avengers, pre Ragnarok Loki, what's his turn gonna be?
I read a theory that the Time Variance Authority,
the TVA,
that Owen Wilson's character Mobius knows that in certain timelines Loki eventually develops into a hero, and that this series is going to be Mobius trying to get this version of Loki back to the version that was erased by time travel, or killed rather. So they know that he's going to be a hero eventually, and they're trying to kickstart that to get this version of Loki back to where that version died. Which I think could be a really compelling character study. I don't think it's going to do that.
It's going to be hard to do that if you consider that they're going to be like universe hopping, because there's there's the idea that Lady Loki is going to be there. I don't know how much of a female Loki I know a lot of the mythological Loki outside of Marvel, right. And the mythological Loki bears children, gives birth to children because they are. I mean, Loki is, to use a modern present term, non-binary in the myths. And I mean, if you get into it, Loki's probably an amalgamation of various different characters. But the standard portrayal of Loki is that gives birth to Fenris, gives birth to Hel, gives birth to I think the World Serpent. Here's an opinion I don't think I've heard Zach. I don't think Zach has seen from before. Loki should be post Ragnarok. It is absolutely rational to run as far away from Ragnarok, and it's abominable, disappointing. Wow. Okay, you don't like Ragnarok?
No, Red does not like Ragnarok.
Really?
Yeah.
So Ragnarok really should just be a boring Shakespearean kind of gold, poorly treated color palettes, and Loki also gave. Oh yeah, true.
Loki as a character in the myths is way more interesting than Marvel Loki's fine, but Marvel Comics Loki spends time as a woman too.
There's actually a storyline where Loki and Thor are together. Because of weird body swapping, brain swapping.
I didn't know Marvel endorsed
comics. They endorse everything the right way. Not everything, obviously, the right way, but they do a lot better job than what the Mouse House can do.
Sure.
I'm really curious about. Okay, so we don't like Ragnarok, right? But unfortunately, that movie gave us a very good, I think, the best turn and the best scene of Thor and Loki together. Ragnarok is so bad that I like. Oh well, that doesn't make any sense. You can't like Jojo Rabbit less because you like a movie less. That's
anyway.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to. That's fair. But I will say that Ragnarok did have the best and most heartfelt scene between Thor and Loki. And I think it's the scene that is needed the most that lets Loki learn the most. And that's that weird elevator scene where he's like, I won't do it again. And Thor's like, look, you're you and I'm me. And that's just the way it is. We don't need to be together. And that was the only time that it sunk into Loki, like what he's actually doing to people. The next time you see Loki, he is avenging everybody and calling himself the son of Odin and the prince of Asgard. So I'm curious how they're going to do a good Loki turn while also dimension hopping, because he's got to go into that I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really make any sense. Either way, I'm excited to watch this movie.
Yeah. Ragnarok is the only reason that Thor is not the worst character in Marvel films. He's just a non-character in those first two movies. I don't care.
Yeah, he barely has an arc. Ragnarok gave him such an emotional understanding, I think, and it really put him in a top tier character. And I think that Endgame really messed that up a little bit with making too many Lebowski jokes and fat shaming and fat humor. Like, I don't give a shit about that. But anyway, okay, yeah. So a couple weeks ago, we started the new project, Red Wichita, and I'm going to let Dylan get us back on track to where we are, where we were, why we're doing this, and what we're going to do for the rest of this episode.
Sure. So Red Wichita was an idea that we had originally developed in an earlier episode of Talking UpStream on our Sunday show. And when we were looking for new stuff to do on Twitching UpStream, because we had kind of finished going through Phantom Limb and spreading that out a little bit, we thought, let's do a podcast idea, because we did a movie last time. So we've got this little development doc, which has it's got a rough timeline of what the episodes are. It's got a rough account of who the characters are. And last time we spent the entirety of the show just kind of further developing the idea. We had a rough outline, so we wanted to get that a little less rough. Generally, what the idea of this is, it is a podcast in-universe in which the main character, the narrator, she is a reporter for, the Wichita Eagle. Because a few years ago, the city of Wichita was taken over and kind of invaded by a villain named Red Emperor, for various reasons, which we kind of get into in the show. But one of the main drives is that Daphne is releasing this podcast as kind of an expose on the main, I guess, Superman style flying brick, the mascot hero of the world, kind of, the big guy everybody talks about, and why Superion took so long to save the innocent people. And we get into a little bit of backstory that this shady corporation, Red Emperor is Red Flanagan's Pokemon evolution. yeah, sure,
I love
it. But we got into a little bit of maybe there's some corporate sponsorship going on, and Superion maybe had ulterior conflicting motives or something. But what we did, we went through the backstory and the characters of what was going on that made this podcast released in world. We developed a little band of kind of street level superheroes, including Heavy Step, Doc Quantum,
really,
Shadow.
Dude, solid names. Love the names.
I like them. I like these. I like these kind of like C tier superheroes. I think they're way more interesting than like Wonder Woman and like Martian Manhunter.
Superman.
Yeah. Well, I already talked about Superman, but yeah, Superman is not terribly interesting no matter what you do with him.
I mean, even as far as a name, just name wise.
Oh yes,
not a good name.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, I think we're kind of ready to get into the actual episode development.
Okay, cool.
If you're in for that. We had planned for this to be about a 6-episode series, maybe an hour or so each. We are really trying to ape, at least an inspiration for me was Serial, where it takes itself very seriously, and it's kind of navel-gazy, and it's a lot of interviews and segments in each episode. And probably that kind of like opening theme could be like that dum 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 dum, a catastrophe in Wichita, a story told over several episodes. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely I do.
So our original pitch for the first episode going down, and how we kind of plotted this out was that each episode had segments in it. So the first episode was what you need to know, and this is kind of just like world building. We start by outlining Red Emperor and Superion's backstory. We get a few backstories about who the major players are. We get into who Superion is and why this podcast is being made. An interview with Doc Quantum. Just kind of like why Wichita is the focus of this event. Collections of the day happening. Collections of the events happening that day, stuff like that. Just get people into it, and then end with a message about the importance of quick timing and response, and why Superion wasn't there. So I thought for doing. Oh, I was reading the wrong episode. Never mind.
Dude, come on.
It's mostly identical. The only change is that you get who everybody is. You get attempts to the backstory leading up to why she's making this podcast, an interview with his attorney and publicist, and then what she's trying to set out to prove. So I figured for developing these episodes, we can just kind of go in and figure out any sort of bits or story progression that we want, and we can kind of integrate stuff as we need to.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we doing each, you want to add into each one of these segments, or are we building, we're building out all of episode 1? That's what you would like to do?
I think we're building out episode 1, or at least as many episodes as, I don't think we need to strictly divide episodes by episodes, but I think we should just kind of go in and build the story out. So the first segment of episode 1 is what the story is about. And we don't have to write down exactly word for word stuff, but we want to do who Daphne Driver is, a reporter for the Wichita Eagle, this sort of thing. What do we want? How do we want her to open this podcast up?
All right, so this is going. So the whole podcast is a narrative from her point of view.
Yeah, with interviews and segments and that sort of thing.
Cool. So if we were making another show, if we were making our 198th show, we would, in episode 0 or the episode 1, we would introduce ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We would introduce what the show is. So there has to be that. This is, I guess, the show itself is going to be called Red Wichita in there too, right? Or is that what she's calling her show?
I think, might as well if that works. If you think that works,
I think that's fine, and it makes sense to why the overall show is called that too.
Yeah.
So then we have to give she has to give the base summary of what happened in Red Wichita. And then she has to explain why she's making this show. And then ultimately, it's kind of like her thesis. Here's why I'm making the show. Here's what I want to uncover while doing this. Here's what you, as the viewer / listener, need to know. And then I guess what we need to know is what her overall goal is.
Yeah.
And do we know that?
We had an idea that she knew someone who was killed or hurt in the actual end attack where Superion does liberate the city due to Superion's recklessness.
So is the overall story that Superion murdered a bunch of people to save a bunch of people? Is that what she's trying to uncover?
Or just didn't care about collateral damage?
Or maybe was hired by somebody to wait? Or
we had a reveal in one of the later episodes that a mega corporation had sponsored or funded or was otherwise entangled in both the villain and the hero.
Yeah,
and despite the fact that people were getting hurt, he had to wait to clear some sort of thing like that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So what she's trying to uncover is the cover-up of the murdering and I guess disappearance of innocent people while Superion, after he was allowed to go and rescue this town, right?
Yeah. The cover-up and corporate involvement in the superpowers in this setting.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, and then we have to get to her, not like, I guess like the summation,
Yeah.
And then we hop into the number 2.
Yeah. So, and I figured we could pepper in clips of like the day itself, or news coverage. Like we have, you do that opening where it's like,
Do that song again.
the suspects say, "Wasn't me." That song by by Shaggy.
Yeah, but I caught you on the bathroom floor.
Yes.
No, it wasn't me.
Caught him on the Batmobile hood.
I caught. Yeah, wasn't me.
It's all being reincorporated.
All right.
Yeah. So then they do that, and then we get I called it the order of battle because that's what you always hear it called in fantasy novels or like military novels or something. This is just who's who, why they're important, and like kind of just give everybody some context.
So I would assume that in her episode 1, which is okay, so our episode 1
is her episode 1. We're presenting this as an in-universe podcast.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. So in her episode 1, we're going to just do what we just did, but that beginning, that number 1 part is like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. It's her thesis.
All right, I love that. So then number 2, she's going to come into describing the big players.
Yes. Red Emperor, Superion. I wrote down Nemesis. I think he's a character we've had in some other superhero stuff we've done, and I think he played a larger role in our initial draft of this, but our second draft we don't, unless we want him to be like present in Wichita, but I don't see why. We can have that a different backstory be important there.
Yeah. Will each episode be kind of the same? Like each one like has the same rough structure? That's what you're setting up?
Right? We had a mix of interviews between Daphne and someone else. Various just kind of descriptions of what was going on. Like, cool. Yeah. So it's not strictly identical where it's like episode thesis, interview, narration, interview, and it was a little more flexible than that.
Cool. So you want to go into Red Emperor's backstory now? Like where he came from, where they came from?
Yeah. We had said that he had the ability to, like, for lack of a better word, earthbend.
Yeah.
On a large scale, and that's how he kind of blocks Wichita off from the rest of the world.
Like terraforming.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, in this universe, do people have powers, get powers? How is that important at all?
I don't know how important it is beyond this guy's backstory. Like,
yeah, I was trying to get to backstories because it seems like you kind of need to know how some people were raised with powers.
Well, in Super Empowered, we have all sorts of superpower origins. We have got bitten by the platonic ideal of the goose. We had spilled time juice on them.
Yeah. Oh, pause. Yeah. Have you watched Sweet Tooth on Netflix yet?
No.
Check it out. It is a DC. It is a DC property.
It's the prequel to Sugar We're Going Down, isn't it? The music video.
I think it's a far post-apocalyptic future of that video, but it's actually produced by the Downies. But it is a DC property about the day a pandemic starts and animal-human hybridization starts. It's like the day this start, all those babies that are born now are part some animal. Then it hops into the future, and those hybrid half things are being hunted. And it's, dude, I think, yeah. Anyway, if you're into fantasy stuff, check this out. Very, very, very touching. It also has one of your friends from Game of Thrones in it. I can never remember his name. He plays he is maybe the King of Karth. but also, well, Karth has no kings, I guess. He's one of the people Karth, but also he is butler in Artemis Fowl.
Yes, I know who you mean.
Yeah, I don't know that guy's name. I keep forgetting.
Oh God,
yeah.
what a movie!
Yeah, yuck. Okay, back to this. So his backstory.
We got a whole lot of options for
because now this could be a tech only super thing. You know what I mean? Like people don't have superpowers, but there is a huge tech market that can do things. So there's many ways to do superheroes or superpowers. What do you want to go with?
Well, we had originally set this in the same world as Super Empowered, which has a whole bunch of different options for. Yeah.
A villain is generically named as Nemesis, has to be built up massively. Then, when they dramatically emerge, they get obliterated immediately. Incredibles monologue capes out. Yeah, absolutely love that. I'm a huge fan.
The original pitch for Nemesis in The Last Hero was that he was powerful enough that he just didn't care. It was just like, he's like, yeah, I guess I'm a villain because I don't help people, and people think that inaction is as bad as active badness.
Yeah, he which just kind of kept getting attacked or whatever, and he just kept killing people.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Hello, Tina Marie. How are you? Good to see you. Good to be back. All right.
So
how much his backstory do you want to get into? Why he's doing this, where he comes from, or just what the casual audience member would know?
I think what Daphne is putting across to try and get his image ready for what's going to happen, because he takes over Wichita to start his empire, his state.
Sure. So he was like an orphaned billionaire, or he was a neglected child of money. What do you think he was?
Sure, he was a neglected trust fund kid.
Yeah. From a very popular pretzel making company. Hot pretzels, dude. They
I mean, how'd you make your billions? I made my billions in pretzels.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How'd you make your billions? I didn't. Thank you.
I was thinking it might be a little too on the nose to have him be like an oil and gas kid.
Well, yeah, that's boring.
All right, from a popular.
How about from the snack from the snack sector,
from the world's largest. I mean, we could just have it be like Unilever, where it's just like a massive food multi conglomerate.
Yeah, cool. And his mom, who ran that conglomerate, whatever, just did not talk to him. Gave him all the stuff. Mm-hmm. Gave him tech so that he could, because he always wanted to go dirt bike riding, but she bought him a dirt bike, but he couldn't find like the right hills, or whatever, and that's why she got him the tech to be able to make his own park, make his own outdoor. Do you want him to be tech related, or do you want him to just have powers?
I'm not sure for Red Emperor. I think tech would be an interesting way to potentially depower him if you need to.
Yeah, I always think like bad guys for some reason just shouldn't inherently have powers.
Okay.
I don't know why I think that. I mean, obviously some.
Red is right here. Tucker Carlson is the heir to the what is it? Not Schwann's, the other one.
Hungry Man.
No, it starts with an S. Schnaufers?
Swimmy, Swami.
It's two syllables.
Oh, Samsonite.
I'm stuck on Schnaufers, but that's definitely not it.
Stofers?
Maybe.
Well, it's definitely not Schnaufers. I'll tell you that.
Swanson's.
Okay. But okay, so I'm into that. Oh, you said it's definitely not Swanson's. I think that's how you started this whole thing.
I don't think that's right, because Red thinks it's Swanson, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay, no, I believe Red. What I'm saying is, you said it's not Swanson's. And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't think I did.
Well, we'll go back.
We're not recording. This is all live.
Can I rewind this?
No.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so I do like that. I mean, Tucker Carlson is one of the worst people I can think of. So
Yeah.
let's mimic Red Emperor after that.
Sure. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Red Red Emperor. Yeah, he's I mean, there's a very popular group of people that like the color red and would probably prefer to be some sort of empire state. So I'm cool with all this.
Oh, that's an association I hadn't made, but sure, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Well, what were you gonna do? Why is it called Red Emperor?
Because I like the name, and I made the name up without thinking of what the powers would be.
Yeah, no.
And originally I thought maybe like blood control, but I didn't know how dark we wanted to go.
Yeah, blood control is cool.
I think Red Emperor. Maybe he grew up somewhere with clay, like in the dirt. So it's like the red dirt with clay in it, and he's like,
okay.
I named myself after the good old red American clay in my backyard, like the red-blooded American.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, sure. I'm in. As Tucker Carlson as possible. Yeah. But I also hate Tucker Carlson's father slightly more. So also if you have HBO, there is a really cool documentary on there called Lady in the Dale, and it's done by the Duplass brothers, who are my new favorite, just generators of content. And it is about the woman who created the 3-wheeled car, the Dale, and and also the real POS news reporter who made it his personal mission to take her down, mostly because she was transgender. And it turns out that this news reporter is Tucker Carlson's father. So, yeah, check that out.
An American bloodline all through and through.
Yeah, so make sure you check out Lady in the Dale if you want to.
Since when did Twitching UpStream get so political?
Because we can't be on Talking Upstream.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's almost exactly the entire reason we started this show.
Yeah, because I would assume Red Emperor might
unrated.
I think Red Emperor might help fund.
Twitching UpStream says trans rights.
Yeah. BLM, we're uncensored here. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's hop back.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yes, because his mom neglected him, he got a lot of tech and was able to, but he tweaked it though. Like he's intelligent enough to tweak it so that he eventually used it to build a full earth/clay wall around Wichita, a clay wall around Wichita. You can hear the lyrics writing themselves here.
Yeah.
Superion's backstory. Wait, do we want to add more to that? Like what made him turn bad? Like a stock market crash, a gluten-free wave,
some sort of health food craze. He lost a large amount of his fortune due to some. I almost like that he loses it based on his own actions. Like he messes up bad enough that he like. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's throw in a hero named Antifa Super Soldier. Yeah, sure.
Red. That's okay.
Yeah. This is almost a PC culture gone mad here. So what if, because he is maybe greedy or whatever, he creates a snack that wouldn't make sense. That would be his own demise. I was thinking like he pushes something that forces the gluten-free craze, whatever. But no, that's stupid. Either way, his business falls.
These militant gluten-free people.
So what if he like maybe murdered his parents to get sole rights to the company?
Sure. Murdered his parents for the inheritance.
As soon as he got the company, it like tanked hard and he lost a lot of money. And then his like grandparents are upset with him and they're like, your parents would never let them. Oh, well, no, I'm just kidding. But then something happens, and then he's like, I just want my own town.
Yeah. There's something. I mean, that's a crazy enough motive that I'm like, you know what? That's super villain enough. Like,
But I'm curious.
Tina has a good recommendation. Did he lose on Shark Tank?
Yeah, I'm into that. Like he loses his money from the company. He goes into Shark Tank with this new snack idea that's going to revolutionize snacks once again and bring back food world. What's he from? What's it called? Unilever,
not Unilever.
Yeah, sure, whatever. And the sharks,
Button Foods.
It's a snack, but also a napkin.
Oh,
I call it snapkins.
Edible.
You wipe your face with the next one, eat the napkin.
That's awful.
Hey, I think it works. Go for it.
You know, there's something to be said for creating your own condiments.
Snapkins, dude. You can have ketchup flavored snapkins. You can have mustard flavored snapkins. You can have a clean laundry flavor snapkins.
Mark Cuban is just like, I don't want to invest in rice paper.
And I'm like, well, that's fair. We can put this on any kind of paper, whether it's a tofu paper. Red Emperor's secret weakness is an ingredient he monopolizes to put food on. Oh, like a Monsanto thing. That's cool. Yeah. Not only is it unhealthy and addictive, but he will control it. Yeah, I love that. That's really cool.
It's a food additive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cool with him being an agriculture, like a bioagriculture magnate, because Wichita is a major breadbasket city. So kind of, yeah, if you take over Kansas, you get the breadbasket, and
that's true. And
what that means.
Yeah, that is easily one of the hardest pieces in operation. So I hate that. I hate that area. Okay, so now I think after the Shark Tank debacle, he is laughed out of most major banks to get loans. He hears about this one bank in Wichita that just recently got a lot of government-funded money because of some probably golden parachute or however that thing works. He goes to Wichita to take out a loan, and they literally bring up the Shark Tank episode on their phone, and they're like, "Hey, this is not going to work."
So I really like the idea that he's like a struggling corporate guy.
Yeah.
And we can have the reveal at the end of the show be that one of his major investors that saved his company is the same one that finances Superion.
Oh, love that. That's a really cool twist. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of thinking about napkins right now.
Let's do it. We haven't broken into food manufacturing yet.
Rose Flanagan, my sidekick, says that his secret shame is locking himself into a closet to binge watch Gilmore Girls and eat Girl Scout cookies. Yeah, love all that. I'm Gilmore Girls is he's probably smart enough to think that Gilmore Girls is clever. So wink. Okay, so in Wichita is when he is denied his final loan, which maybe as he's walking around disgusted, they see somebody take down like an ad of his, or they do that generic scene where they like covering up a billboard of his ex company and put up the new wave of snapkins that got picked up, made by Mark Cuban, because it's not rice paper. It's like some kind of plankton or algae.
It's seaweed.
Algae paper. Then the loan sharks obviously get involved, says Tina Marie.
And this is a band of bankers who are literally part person, part shark.
Yeah, bioengineered loan bankers.
Loan sharks.
Yeah. Why are you just talking about sharks? Tina Marie's like, I wonder what's outside of Texas.
You know what? On the mind.
Sharks.
Hey, you're on the Gulf of Mexico, yeah.
That's true. Okay. So I like all that stuff. Now, do you want to get into Superion's backstory?
Yeah, I think so.
Xenonox.
Oh, hello. So, Xenonox, what we're doing here, we are developing a story. This is a podcast called Red Wichita, which is about a supervillain who takes over Wichita and Kansas. And then is fought, and there's some corporate sabotage and that sort of thing going on. So, we're just going through the story and kind of developing all these characters out. Yeah, Loan Sharks is definitely going to be something I pitch on our Sunday show.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that a lot.
It's a kid's show. It's a kid's show about shark bankers.
They teach kids how to count underwater. Okay, so Superion, his backstory.
Yeah. So we do have part of Superion built up from a previous episode where he has a gemstone in his eye.
Oh,
that
cool.
Remember from Last Hero.
I mean, as you're saying it, I remember 100%.
Gotcha. Yes. But he has a gemstone in his left eye, so he's got that fashionable asymmetry thing that like sometimes superheroes and villains have, where it's, I mean, Cable is the big one that everybody kind of knows.
I think you meant to say Kano.
Kano is one as well.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember their name, but there's a character in like Discworld. Like one weird eye is a very popular off-putting trope, but this one is a gemstone that gives him his powers.
Yeah.
So
he had to sacrifice his eye to get it.
Yeah.
He didn't lose an eye. He's a tough machismo man.
Which is very Odin-esque of him. Sacrifice your eye at the will of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is why I talk to you, because you know all the cool stuff. I don't know anything.
That's not true. Anyway,
I don't know anything about Norse mythology. So
I didn't have friends when I was a kid. So
if it's not in a comic, then I don't know. Okay, so are we doing basic origin story for Superion? Kind of the same amount of stuff, right?
Yeah, the same amount of stuff. At one point, in Last Hero, we had determined that the eye is sent back in time so Superion could protect people from it because he can withstand its power.
Oh, yeah.
So at some point Last Hero is legitimately a great idea that we haven't done anything with, but that's okay.
We'll get there. Maybe it's the next one of these we do.
Yeah. But Superion had to sacrifice his eye to get the gem. At some point, a magical gemstone was sent back in time. Superion has it because he's already powered and his body can withstand it.
Yeah.
But like, who was he? Do we give him the Superman style,
like another planet kind of deal?
I don't think we do another planet, but like, was he raised as like an unassuming all-American go-getter, whatever the equivalent of that is? Is he like an inner city guy? Is he from Florida? I don't know why Florida.
I would say that he's probably an army brat. He is slightly well-traveled, and both of his parents are combat trained in different parts of the military. Like one's like a Navy SEAL and the other one's like a Green Beret, you know, the toughest of the tough. And they are now.
Ooh, I like Tina's idea that at least one of his parents could be a diplomat.
Cool.
But I do like the idea that he moves around a lot, or moved around a lot as a kid.
Yeah, so maybe that is literally her favorite episode of the Psyche Dog podcast. Yeah, and if you don't know a lot about MK Ultra, please check that out because that is wild stuff.
It's fun.
But okay, so maybe his dad's a diplomat, his mom's like a Green Beret. Yeah. And they move around a lot because whatever, he goes everywhere and she's cool. And he and the son is maybe the kind of son that can just never live up to his self-imposed expectations because his parents are big. And maybe he keeps Pomeranian candidate. Oh, I love that. very, very similar to a Manchurian candidate, just sheds a lot more. Yeah, so I love all that. I think that's cool. Do you like that?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, cool. So now he maybe even weasels his way into some genetic engineering to make himself a little bit tougher, to make himself a little bit stronger. And that's because at some point he has to be able to withstand this eye gem.
Yes. And I like that, like, because in the Last Hero, we had kind of pitched him as, like, potentially extraterrestrial. We had never determined it. So I like that Superion, the ultimate candidate, the ultimate superhero in the setting, is a science experiment. He was a diplomat's kid that they empowered.
Yeah, and also like I've been watching a lot of, not a lot, but I watched Invincible again.
Yeah.
And like the alien. I'm trying to stay away from as many normal tropes as possible.
Sure. Yeah.
Although
No,
we are sitting in Tropeville right now.
I
But
mean,
whatever.
we are, and I mean, part of Invincible's charm is that it plays everything so straight in a new way that it almost becomes a deconstruction.
Yeah.
What happens if his iGem comes out? We see that happen in another story. Actually, he gets defeated.
Yep.
And it causes a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's gonna send it back in time to save it.
There's a dude with a time traveling gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it should be the same wizard or whatever person has it that he has to give his eye up for.
Oh, it was Madame Eldritch.
Madame Eldritch, yeah. Melissa's mom.
Betsy Eldritch. That was her name, Betsy Eldritch.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Offers him the gem, but she knows he already takes it.
Yeah, and he
here's one.
Rose says that Superior was a latchkey kid on the army base, and he wandered into a vat of some super material, perhaps a vat of Red Emperor's additive that they were researching to preserve field rations. Dude, I
like the link.
Yeah, that's way great. That's definitely better than obviously like give me some genetic engineering like but yeah, falling into a vat of acid and being a good guy because of it or something, great.
And it was a preservative, so it helps him withstand the power of the gem from destroying him.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's
phenomenal.
That ties it together. And then eventually Betsy Eldritch, which that's all secret backstory stuff that we're just kind of. I like having secret backstory information that only the creators know, so that way you kind of inform parts of the character without it being obvious as to what is creating that character's backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of anti-Joker, but I think his power, from the gemstone, he gets Superman style. He can fly, he's super strong, he's got the only one I-beam, but he's got an I-beam.
Yeah, and he really wants to do good because his parents are actually just good, like really, really good. Yeah, I think that's really cool. And
but he's ultimately corrupted by marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, because ultimately he is financed by someone.
No, I think that's great. I like
money.
All of that.
He gets corrupted by money.
Okay, so now we are going to go into Nemesis's.
I think we will. Are we going to do that in the next episode? Because it's almost 4:30.
Oh,
we do have a slightly shorter episode for you today, just by virtue of some behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yep. Yes, please. Okay, so please tune in next Tuesday where we're going to dive into this. We're going to go into Nemesis's backstory. We're going to get into the last part of episode 1 and try to get into at least halfway through this episode before we really start working on this thing. We really appreciate you guys for hanging out and chatting with us and commenting and making this story so much better than what Dylan and I can do. Dylan's a great writer. I appreciate everything, but obviously the way that we work is in a village atmosphere, and thanks to you guys, the story is going to be awesome. So please, thank you very much. People that we really, really want to thank is we have Scott Curtis from Behind the Bits. If you like podcasts at all, great interviewer, great dude, recent grandpa. So please go check out Scott Curtis with Behind the Bits. East Coast friends, we got Sarah Takachik and Tanya Sheck. We have a listener app. Go to Instagram. You probably have the IG, that weird little icon of a camera. Go there and go to @thegreatestpodcast app. It's a cool little app that transcribes the words for you so you can actually read what I'm saying instead of assuming that my slurs and mumbles are funny just because other people laugh. They probably aren't, but if you read it, you'll know for sure. Listen, we appreciate you. Please go check out somenobodies.com. That's where we have all of our weird stuff. Yeah, do it for the gram, please. Thank you, especially to Red Flanagan for all of your amazing ideas. You are so cool. We appreciate you, and especially to Rose, who had better ideas than you did this time. But either way, we appreciate the team. We appreciate the team, and we love all that. And if you want to support us, if you want to help us make some more stuff, we have a movie coming out. We're actually going to review another cut of this movie after we sign off of here. so we can get this thing going. But if you do want to help us out, we do have a Patreon. It's over at patreon.com/Some Nobodies. And yeah, Dylan's going to go put up our GoFundMe. We do have a GoFundMe for the movie as well. This thing is coming out really cool. I'm excited. A lot of our friends were in here. We did a cool casting for it. We got a lot of really, really talented people, and we really want to say thanks and pay them back.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, until next time, people, we love you guys. And Dylan, my very best friend, I appreciate you. And I felt weird not being around you for a week, but I love all of you guys. I have been Zach. He has been Dylan, and you have been great. And we'll see you soon. Check out the Real Boys.
Check out the Real Boys. It's a good show. We're funny on it mostly.
Yeah.
And bye.
Phil.
Thank you.